Okay, I got a 96 G.M.C. I'm going to change the brakes on it, and I'm going to put it on here to show how I do it. First, got to remove the hubcap. I'm going to loosen the lugs and then I'm going to jack it up afterwards. Looks like I might have to break them loose with a breaker bar. I do this before I jack it up so that it'll hold the wheel with the impact wrench. I don't have to. I figured I was going to have to loosen them first anyway. Okay, there's 8 lugs on these. It's a 3/4 ton. Now I'm going to raise it up off the ground. Okay. Get the wheels off the ground. I'm going to put a jack stand under it, so I don't have to worry about it falling down. I got this jack stand here I'm going to put under it. I should hold it there. Finish with this. Okay, the lugs are out. Oh, wait, one more. How can I do that? There we go. Move the wheel. Well, the brakes pads won't clear out, but they were getting kind of thin. But my brakes were pulsating when I push on them, and I think my rotors have gotten warped or something. I pull a lot of really heavy trailers with this pickup, and sometimes the trailer brakes aren't working real good, or it's a steep hill and they get hot, and I might have warped it, so I'm going to have to pull these rotors off and bring it in and have them turned, or at least checked to see if they need turned. The first thing I gotta do is take this caliper off right here. Set it off to the side, then I'll be able to pull the rotor. Okay, I'm going to replace the calipers on this. So first I'm going to do is unhook the line right here. This is the brake line. It takes a 1/2 inch, 7/16 wrench to do that. And then there's 2 bolts right here on the hold the caliper on. So it takes a 3/8 hex or Allen wrench to get it off. I'm going to remove those. Okay, once I remove the line and the 2 bolts on the back, I pulled the bolts completely out. Look like that. It's hex. You just pull the calipers off. If your rotor's worn real bad, and your pads worn clear out, you will have to work out to get it out. But as you can see, my pads aren't that bad. But I think the problem is my rotor is no longer flat, because I can see black on it in different spots where it's a bit over and it's cracked right there. Yep. So that rotor is not reusable because it's all cracked. It's been really hot. Okay, well, now I know. So I'm going to get a new rotor and a new caliper and new pads, and I'll get back. Oh, I gotta go to the other side and see how it looks, see if it's turnable. Okay, on mine, I use the impact wrench. If you don't have an impact wrench, when you get this far, you can put the wheel back on, let it down, and use a breaker bar with a long cheater on it, and you should be able to break those loose to get the rotor off. It's a lot easier if you got an impact wrench. Then the next thing, I guess I better get a light. Unplug the wire for your ABS, and it's located right up in here. Okay, once you get this ABS wire disconnected, the next step, what I did next was, there's 4 bolts that hold the hub bearings on. Right here they have a 15mm nut on them, and they're probably pretty tight. They should be. So I used my 1/2 inch breaker bar to break them loose, and then I spun them on down with the ratchet, air ratchet. Forgot to mention, you might be able to see it, I turned the wheels all the way to the right first to get the front ones, turned all the way to the left to get the back ones. So I got these front ones broken loose. I'm going to take them the rest of the way out. And then now I got to turn the wheels all the way the other direction. That one loose. Broke that one loose. I don't know if you could see it. All the bolts are loose. ABS wires unhooked. I forgot to do that before and never broke one, but it could easily happen. Now this rotor is the one that's all cracked, and all I gotta do is knock it loose pretty much. So I might get a little bit rough with it. Okay, now I'm just gonna tap on the back of this rotor. You can see it, but it's already coming loose a little bit. Like I said, I'm not worried about it because it's cracked. It's not even rebuildable. There's a spot right here you can pry it a little bit if once you get it loosened up a little. Try to turn it a little to another spot. It's coming off. If you don't have that ABS wire unplugged, it'll when it comes off, it'll drop and it'll be hanging by that wire. See what I mean? Okay, now I got that off. You bring it over to the bench. Okay, the way I usually do this is you look up inside, and there's where these bolts were that you just took out, there's little notches in the rotor, and you got to turn the hub bearing so that those little notches line up. You turn it so those are lined up, and then you flip it over on top of some blocks. There, got the camera set. I better put my gloves on. I won't get hurt. I already pinched my hands once. But the way I did it is I just knock all 8 of these studs out. Good time to replace the hub bearing if you're going to need one. There's 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. There's all 8 of those. And now, when you lift it up, you gotta make sure that those little notches I've stuck them out line up. So you can get this off. Pull your wire through. That was no good, couldn't be reused. There's the new one. Looks a little different, no rust. Put the wire back through. Put these through the holes. Like so. Line up the studs. Turn it back over. Okay, now I need to put the studs back in. It's pretty much reversal. You turn it over, start them like that. The block is not in the way. That one just fell. It should fall most of the way through, and then you just drive it the rest of the way. So that sounds good and solid. And you do the same thing all the way around. Till you got all 8 of them driven all the way back in. Okay, once you get all the wheel studs in, make sure you got them all in and all the way. All of them even, pounding as far as they go. And this is a sealed bearing, but it has a dust seal right here. So I always put a little grease on that seal to help it seal a little better. And then I usually put some on the splines in here to help slide the axle back through when I get that far. And I don't know, I think it helps keep the rust and crap out of here from the road salt, because I use my pickup in the winter quite a bit, probably more than in the summer. And I don't want that road salt getting in there and tearing things up. Anyway, I got that all coated with grease. Now I'm ready to put it back together. Okay, once you got the studs pounded in, got the hub bearing back on, then you need to put this little rock guard in place. It goes like this. The ABS wire is right here. Comes out the top. It goes like this, and make sure when you put this back on that this is on the top right here. Just put it back up there, slide it onto the axle, put those 4 bolts in, and I can go. Okay, once you get it up there, and you make sure that you got your wire coming out the top, your ABS wire for this little shield. Got the little shield in between. Make sure you get all 4 bolts started and thread it in a little bit before you tighten any of them. Otherwise you might have problems getting some of them started. And so that's what I'm doing right here. So using this little wrench, got them all started. I'm going to just thread them in at least halfway on each one before I try to tighten any of them. Then I tighten. Not too much, just a little bit. Just a little, almost kind of snug. Because what it's doing is kind of pulling the bearing into place too at the same time. If you do it too much on one, you might put it on a bind, cause problems. Then you turn the wheel again so you can get your torque wrench on there. Put your torque wrench on. Find out what the torque value is on this. And torque all 4 of them to the manufactured spec. Okay, once I get the rotor bolted back up and the hub bearing, then I take some brake parts cleaner and I clean the hub real good with it, with brakes parts cleaner and a paper towel. Clean both sides of the disc real good before you put the brake pads on. Okay, I got the new EGR valve in finally. I ordered the one with the white dot because my old one has a white dot. See? But when I got the one with the white dot, it did not fit. So I had to take it back and get the one with the green dot. And this one looks like it will fit, because the one with the white dot wouldn't fit on the wire. See, the wire goes right here, and this one has a little split going right down the middle. And the white dot didn't. It had little tags on the sides where I couldn't plug this in at all. Okay, so that wire plugs in right there. It's coming from the firewall, the main wire harness. Got the 2 vacuum lines that I replaced coming out right here. The one on the right is the one that goes straight to the turbo, and the one on the left, on my left, goes down to the vacuum pump. Just plug those back in, tighten up this 10mm bolt right here, and then I'll be ready to try it. Okay, now I'm ready to put the brake back together. Got the caliper right there. I gave it a little paint job. Kind of an ugly orange, but oh well. I found these ceramic pads. I'm going to try them out. Hope they turn out to be good. Usually ceramic ones are good. What I do, I put this pad on right here, and then I take this tool right here, this pad spreader, put it in between here, then what you got to do is got to push this piston all the way back. This one wasn't back all the way. I decided not to get new ones because these were perfectly good. Push all the way back. Then I have a little plug that I'm going to put in it to keep it from coming back out. Right here, put a plug in where the line hooked up at. That should keep the piston from coming back out. I can take my tool back off. Put the pad on the other side. Okay, yep. Doing the right side first, so turn the wheel all the way to the left to get to it easier. Take the caliper, pretty much just put it on there like that. Put the bolts back in right here, and tighten them up to manufactured spec with your torque wrench, and then okay, when I do this I always make sure I got both of them started before I tighten in either one. That way you don't have take a chance on putting them cross-threaded. But if you get one tightened up before you get the other one in there, then you won't be able to get it started if it's off just a little bit off center. but these pretty much hold themselves in place. When I took my bolts out, I took these little dust covers off the end of the bolts. Make sure you put those back on to keep the dust out. And then you take the bolt, make sure you got a washer on each side of it. This side and the other side. One washer stuck to the other side. Clean it all off. Pull the plug back out that you put on there, if you put one on there. That's what I did. Thread it in and tighten it up, and you're ready to start bleeding the brakes. First thing, got to make sure that your fluid reservoir is full of clean fluid. Doesn't hurt to get it just a little bit past the line right now, because I emptied the calipers, and so I want to make sure I don't run it dry, because when you run it dry, you'll have to bleed the brakes with a brake bleeding tool. I use my Mighty Vac until you get all the air out of it. And in my case, I'm going to keep going until I get all the dirty brake fluid out of it too. Just be patient with the bleeder until you get all the air out, and snug it back up with the 10mm wrench is what this one takes. Snug that back up nice and tight. And then go the other side, bleed it. And, okay, there. Got the caliper on, got it tightened, got the brakes bled. Make sure you got the wire hooked back up for the ABS. And put the wheel on, and then we'll torque this nut right here to the manufactured specified torque. Then once you get both the wheels on, lower it back down to the ground. Put your torque wrench on that center nut and tighten it to manufacturer's spec torque. I don't like to say, because I might be wrong. And then you put your hubcap back on and you're ready to go. That's it.